Clark County Today is presented by Cano Real Estate. Hire an agent, get a team. Learn more by visiting canorealestate.com.
Hey everyone, welcome to your Wednesday update from ClarkCountyToday.com. I'm Chris Brown. Well, the COVID-19 outbreak connected to the Firestone Pacific Foods fruit packing plant in Vancouver continues to grow. Today, Clark County Public Health identified 22 more cases, bringing the total to 106 connected to that facility. 74 of those are employees, along with 32 close contacts. A total of 167 employees and 121 close contacts have been tested through the Vancouver clinic. The total number of confirmed COVID-19 cases in Clark County has grown to 533, though there have been no new fatalities linked to the outbreak since early last week. There are 8 people in hospitals in Clark County with confirmed cases. Well, Firestone said on Monday they intended to reopen this Thursday, but at today's Board of Public Health meeting, Clark County Public Health Officer Dr. Alan Melnick said he didn't believe that was possible and that he would consider using the authority of his office to keep Firestone closed until all employees have completed a quarantine period. Melnick did say that the company might be able to reopen if they can bring in temporary workers who have not had contact with other employees or their close contacts. Now, we've reached out to Firestone for their response, and we'll bring that to you as soon as they get back to us. Today, Washington Governor Jay Inslee announced that the state is easing some restrictions on church gatherings. Under the new guidelines, churches in counties that are still in Phase 1 can have outdoor meetings of up to 100 people with face coverings and social distancing. Churches in Phase 2 can have indoor meetings at 25% capacity or up to 50 people, also with masks and 6 feet of space between families. Clark County remains in Phase 1 with an application to move to Phase 2 on hold due to the Firestone outbreak. Well, if you're following the COVID-19 outbreak closely, you may want to circle June 3rd on your calendar. That's when the Clark College Foundation is going to be hosting a virtual event with Alexis Madrigal. She's leading the COVID-19 tracking project for the Atlantic. And they're working on a national project to provide state-by-state data of the spread and testing of COVID-19 across the U.S., as well as racial inequities in that data. That event will take place from 3:30 to 4:30 p.m. on that Wednesday, June 3rd, and pre-registration is required due to limited space on the Zoom call. For more info and a link to RSVP, visit ClarkCountyToday.com. In other news, the annual homeless point in time count for Clark County is out. The yearly survey done in late January seeks to paint a picture of homelessness in communities across Washington state. For Clark County, 916 people were located as part of this year's survey, and that's down 4% from last year, but the number of people living unsheltered was up 6%. There was also a sharp increase in people aged 18 to 24 living on the streets. The point-in-time count, while likely an underestimate of the total number of homeless people, helps to gauge the success or failure of outreach programs and determines where funding goes. To see the full breakdown of this year's data, check out the full story at ClarkCountyToday.com. Well, it's been a busy 6 months for new Camas Mayor Barry McDonald. You remember McDonald unseated incumbent Mayor Shannon Turk last November in a write-in campaign that was launched barely over a month before the election. That nearly unprecedented achievement was largely thanks to anger over a $78 million public pool and recreation center bond, which lost with almost 90% of voters opposed. During a recent virtual meeting of the Camas City Council, McDonald shared thoughts on his whirlwind 6 months in office, which has included the coronavirus pandemic and the corresponding stay-at-home orders that have significantly impacted budgets of area municipalities. McDonald called the last 6 months by far the most challenging of his life. You can head over to ClarkCountyToday.com to read all of McDonald's thoughts. City of Washougal officials recently released the results of their 2020 community survey. The survey conducted by the ETC Institute showed satisfaction ratings that have increased or stayed the same in 49 of 54 areas since 2018 and increased or stayed the same in 44 of 54 areas since 2014. 65% of Washougal residents say they are satisfied with the overall quality of city services. Just 8% said they were dissatisfied. The survey included responses from 517 households and will help guide city officials with priorities for the community, including budget and investment decisions, and comparing Washougal's performance against that of other similar communities nationwide. Well, among the many things that have been called off this spring will be the Southwest Washington All-Star Baseball doubleheader. But as we hear from Paul Valencia, it's not just the All-Star game that will be missed.
Good evening. Tonight I'd like to share with you the story of U.S. Army Corporal Jeremiah Jewel Johnson. Jeremiah graduated from high school in 2001, a Prairie Falcon. I never watched him play baseball. It was a few months later when I started covering high school sports in Clark County. But through the years, I've got to know him through a scholarship in his name, a memorial scholarship in his name. Corporal Johnson died in Iraq in 2007. Since then, his parents, David and Beth, have been going to the Southwest Washington All-Star Baseball Series and giving out a scholarship and the MVP plaques to the 2 MVPs of those games. The scholarship is also sponsored by the Evergreen Baseball Umpires Association. I'd like to thank them as well. It's not the actual baseball, it's the giving away of the MVP trophy. I've covered so many sporting events where MVPs are named or trophies are given, and in all of those things, they're special, but they're just sports trophies. But at this event, every year, the trophy, it's a plaque with Jeremiah's picture in his Army uniform. And it's really touching when the players, they just finished a baseball game, they played well, they're named MVP, it's a special moment, but they also look down at that plaque and they know that it's one of their own, a former baseball player in Clark County. And it's just one of the highlights of the year. And unfortunately, it's just another one of the things that is going to be canceled this year because of our reaction to the pandemic. I just want to give a salute to the Johnson family 2 days after Memorial Day. And thank you, Jeremiah, for your service and your sacrifice.
All right, thank you so much for that report, Paul. Well, you might not have heard of them yet, but you will soon. The Governors are an up-and-coming band with several members based right here in Clark County, and they are getting ready to launch their first album in the coming weeks. Our own Jacob Granneman talked with them about how they have persevered through the challenges of COVID-19 to continue creating music and bringing people together.
Thanks, Chris. The Governors are for sure a very unique band. They actually kind of all came together when they started going to Boise State University in Idaho, but many of the band members are actually from right here in Clark County out of Battleground and went to high school together. It was kind of a running joke for a long time that they would start a band, and in September of last year, they finally did. These 6 band members came together, and they've changed a couple roles since then, but they have increased their success. They actually began recording music last year. They did their first demo album. And then this year, they really started to ramp up. And as we all know, all that kind of came to a grinding halt with the pandemic. Actually, the week after their very first performance on stage in front of a live audience is when things began to shut down. Now, they are not letting that stop them, though. They actually were able to come together and do one of their original songs on a Zoom call kind of format. And at the end of the song, they included dozens of other people singing along with them to the chorus. The song is called It Only Gets Better, and it definitely fits the times that we are in. So if you'd like to learn more about what they're doing and what they're up to, which is new music, first single will be coming out next week, visit clarkcountytoday.com to read the full story with our feature article on all the band members and their message to folks right now as musicians during this time. So check it out.
All right, thank you so much for that, Jacob, and good luck to the Governors. Well, there is your quick check of the headlines on this Wednesday from clarkcountytoday.com. Be sure to follow us on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram to see when stories are posted and be part of the conversation. You can also send us story ideas and feedback. We love to hear from you. The email address is news@clarkcountytoday.com. For all of us, I'm Chris Brown. Thanks so much for watching. We'll talk to you again tomorrow.